Up next, we have a thought leadership spotlight focused on manage your workforce for the future with capabilities in mind, featuring Kamal Ahluwalia, who is president at Eightfold. During this session, we'll look at how talent teams are facing many challenges to transform their workforce for the future, including candidate experience, recruiting efficiency, remote work, diversity and inclusion, retention, and more. The crucial strategy that can address these challenges is to hire for potential based on the capabilities of each person. In this session, Eightfold President Kamal Ahluwalia will discuss how to think about capabilities as a talent strategy and how AI technology makes this strategy possible today. So with that, Kamal, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you for the warm introduction, and what a great lead in from the panel right before us. Can you see my slides? Great. So I'll take a few minutes and walk you through how we are looking at hiring for potential and really using AI to understand what people are capable of doing. And I think especially with all the things that were being discussed earlier, we need it even more than ever, because with remote work, I think our aperture has widened. We can hire anywhere. So to some extent, there's more talent available to us than ever before. And also the impending imperative of solving for employees first is actually opening up more and more opportunities for us to do a better job. So not a surprise, a lot of things are starting to come together. And as we talk about future of work and capabilities, D&I is absolutely top of mind. Fortunately, it's not a passing phase anymore. Everybody is talking about more digital skills. Everybody is talking about improving the employee experience. And even the three intersections that are not addressed here, I think it can be easily filled in with upskilling, reskilling opportunities, belonging, as well as really setting us up in our organizations to become more diverse and more capable. Because everybody needs to learn more things. I think there are more assets than we have realized. And the number one is learnability. So here's how we actually have been focusing our AI platforms on, is to really hire for potential, really hire for what people are capable of doing. And I'll give you an example first of some of the recent work we did. We actually got to participate, and it ran about 6-8 months. A challenge thrown and run by Department of Labor, Department of Defense, and Veterans Affairs. And the goal was to use technology to help veterans transition to the civilian workforce. And the key is, if you actually step back, our veterans, our Army, military, Navy, Air Force, they are amongst the best trained in the world. They are used to working with technologies that some of us won't even see for another 5 to 10 years. And all the other soft skills or things that we all yearn for on our workforce, leadership skills, ability to work with ambiguity, and having each other's back, the trust, loyalty, transparency, everything that we look for, they come trained. And they are coming, having been tested under pressure, right? So it's a workforce that we should be opening our arms to, and yet it's not as easy for them when they're ready to transition out of the military service. So we competed with them. Fortunately, we ended up beating all of them, and there've been some articles, etc., out there if you search for on the Google side. But the key for this is there's a large talent pool. Veterans represent over 6% of our current US workforce. And COVID absolutely was impacting them just like it was impacting all of us. In April, 8,000 veterans went straight from leaving military service straight into the unemployment line, right? So how we were able to use our AI platform was actually understand where they have documented their capabilities. They have different things like military occupation codes. They have their own version of the resume called VMET. So we actually mapped all of that out. And underneath the covers, we have built a capability matrix, which allows us to determine what they're capable of doing. So one was simply mapping all of their codes and capabilities onto the civilian jobs and requirements. But the second part was all the other things that are not captured in detail, but are inherent, and applying that too. Then the second part was not only is it mapping their current capabilities, but we also should account for their aspirations. Because as they leave the military service, maybe they want to do something different. And we should account for that as well so that they are doing a transition with hope and confidence, not anxiety. And the thing that struck me during one of the sessions was there were about 20 judges, all veterans who are in various stages of transitioning. They actually had very different aspirations on what they wanted to do after transition. A couple of them wanted to go back to school. Someone actually wanted a degree in computer science. One wanted to move to Florida and pursue a career in performance arts. Another one wanted to be a sound engineer. A couple of them wanted to actually join the state troopers. So it was across the board. And the key is, how can we use AI to actually take care of the entire spectrum? So what we are doing here is the same thing we have done with our talent exchange, which was built with support from McKinsey and the food associations, because our first line worker were also impacted, how we could help them. And there are some good successes there as well. So we're looking at the whole spectrum, not just of the knowledge workers, but of the hourly workers. And the key and why you need AI today more than ever is that the number of skills has exploded. Today, under the hood, we have over 1.4 million unique skills. Not only do we understand what they are, but we also understand how to apply them, how we also understand what's the adjacency to each of these skills and how to actually put it in the context of the job, right? So this becomes the centerpiece, the capability matrix that allows us to determine what are people capable of doing. And even in the prior session, there was a lot of talk about doing more for the employees and allowing them to move within organizations. And we have customers who have been doing that very well. And that's also how you unlock D&I, right? But the key here is, what does a skill mean in the age of AI? And I'll give you a simple example. Let's just take cooking. And a lot of us are cooking more than we ever did, partly because we are all at home and we're getting a chance to do it. On my side, I've taken to what goes well with a good meal, and that's good wine. So I tend to be drinking more than I used to, especially because you don't need to drive home after a good dinner. But anyways, I digress. So let's talk about cooking. Now, plenty of dimensions there, right? Are you working in a fast food restaurant or a professional kitchen? Is cooking for you grilling in the backyard, which is also fantastic, especially these days? Or are you actually in the catering business where this needs to be done at scale and speed? Or is it for a particular type of cuisine? Some people are good with vegetarian food, others may have different preferences or different cuisines. And then, of course, the best cook, for me, it is my mom. Sure, for some of you, it is the same. It's a very different outcome, right? Different aspirations. And the key here is that you have to understand the context to understand that when somebody says, I'm good at cooking or I love cooking, what exactly does that mean? And the problem with what we have been relying on is that skills language is actually limiting. It is static. It is artificially constrained, single dimensional proficiency. It's lacking context. And all these projects that are brought in to actually build a skills ontology are outdated the day they are complete, because they're trying to manually understand. And if I tell you, right, pick any of the HRI systems, what is the underlying skills ontology? So limiting. Compare that to 1.4 million skills that you and I have written in our job descriptions and in our resumes. That's essentially what we need to solve for, right? So in the age of AI, it's more about, are you willing to do it? And do you have access to internet? Because you will have now Blue Apron deliver everything to you. You can explore the recipe. They'll give you all the expert opinions. You can have others who have tried that give you input on how to do it right. All that information is there. Question is, am I willing to learn and go in that direction? And if that is there, who are we to actually constrain anyone, right? Just like we are not the ones who should tell a veteran that, no, you should only be doing this because that's what you were doing in the army. That's the alignment that we want using the AI platform. So I think the new thing in the age of AI is not just restricting ourselves to skills and cloud. It is about understanding capability, and it is about knowing what AI can do, how to understand it, how to actually verify it, and also how to apply it for diversity, equality, and inclusion. So when we talk about capability matrix, we are talking about something that's self-updating and automatic. So nobody's sitting there updating stuff and trying to define every single thing, because we know when we talk about certain skill what it means. Focus on learnability. Let's not put people in boxes. Let's not use assessments as a way for identification. That is wrong. It's good for validation. It's not good for identification. And if somebody's willing to learn, none of us should be in the way. The biggest issue is understanding the context, right? That will determine who is a good fit for a particular role, not just blanket things that I have a plan for my top 20% employees. So why? In what context? Or my bottom 5% employees will be moved. Why? In what context? Right? And it does evolve, because blockchain was not around 5 years ago. If you're looking for someone with 10 years of experience in blockchain, you're not going to find anyone. It wasn't there. And the key part is how things are evolving. And we have an underlying data platform that has looked at billions of profiles across the world. And today we have users in 110 countries. So, and I think we support about 15 languages. So a lot goes into understanding what are people capable of doing, and then seeing patterns and then applying that in a very easy to use fashion. So the thing with what we're looking to solve with capability is, if you look at D&I, fortunately, a lot more interest and intent that yes, we should become more diverse. We should give everyone better opportunities and make it easy for everyone to participate. And we've actually been investing in that as well, because the key is, how do we understand that if for others who didn't have same privileges or access that we did, but if they're willing and interested, how do we do it first with our employees so that they can actually learn new capabilities that are needed? But the key part is the transparency, right? Not doing them anybody a favor, but if they are really able to see, okay, this is what I'm capable of doing. If I want a career like this other person, here's what I should learn. Here's how I can do it in 2 months, 3 months, and I'm willing to do it. That's all you can look for, because the half-life of skills is 4 to 5 years. So everything that you and I know, or anybody knows coming out of college, is outdated soon. So quick thing on us is, we have talent intelligence platform, which is a single platform for all of talent: hiring, retention, growing, reskilling, upskilling, D&I, and not only for full-time workers, but also for contingent workforce. And now, of course, helping both private enterprises as well as public agencies as well. The key is the massive interest across the world. We are already in 4 continents, 110 countries, all of that, and support 15 odd languages, because the underlying models are all mathematical. Lots of leading customers who have had fantastic experience and tangible outcomes in transforming the candidate experience and the employee experience. I think the thing that we have often lost in the last 10, 20 years is we lost track of what does an employee want to do. It's been a very top-down view. And that's the thing that we are interested in doing. Especially, and as you're seeing on just on this slide, AirAsia, one of the biggest brands in Asia, big airline, clearly impacted, right? Because with COVID, the flights weren't taking off. And yet, not only did they do a good job of hiring and leveraging their big brand, but then they invested more in their employees to figure out what else are they capable of doing and helping them. Same thing with Coupang, which is an e-commerce company out of South Korea. Micron, which is one of the largest semiconductor companies, and they've been hiring all over the world. And lots of good experience that they have around D&I. Plus, they've also done a lot of veteran hiring. Activision Blizzard is a gaming company. Network appliance storage, nationwide, one of the best known insurance brands, right? So you're looking at a wide spectrum across 17, 18 industries and all the geographies. Bayer is now live in multiple countries, and they're also actually sharing how they're transforming their talent strategy. And the good part I'm seeing is more and more of them are sharing their experiences in public domain, like how Dexcom, which is solving for diabetes, how they are actually both hiring and solving for the candidate experience because it's a top brand. Those are the things that make a difference where you can walk the talk, not just, yeah, want to be fair, what a great place we have, but we are here and investing and we'll give you the full transparency. What we are able to do with our AI is identify the validated skills, missing skills, likely skills, and skills to be verified based on what they have shared with us and the context of the job. Because there are 4 key principles for us. Resumes are useless and job descriptions are even worse. So anybody trying to do keyword Boolean search across the 2 is garbage in, garbage out. People don't leave their current role to do the same thing in their next job. And yet all of our investment is doing exactly that. That, hey, Salesforce admin, looks like you've been doing it for 10 years. Come do it again for us. We'll give you 20% more. And then we're all surprised when they leave. Thirdly, you cannot hire your way out of poor retention. We have to take care of our employees first, and we've done a lot to actually address those use cases with talent marketplace, project marketplace, mentorships, all of that opportunity. And we do have customers that will tell you that what they changed was in their companies by using our platform, opportunities started to look for employees versus employees looking for opportunities. And that mindset, once that changed, employee referrals went up, regrettable attrition went down, engagement went up, all good things started to come about. So I think the last thing I'll share with you is the mission that we have is to provide the right career for everyone in the world. We're looking to do it with large talent pools, besides the work that we have done with veterans, and that's continuing to go and being rolled out. We're also starting to work with the UN World Tourism Organization to help the impacted companies and individuals in the tourism industry, about 120 million people in that industry across 160 countries. And the fact that we can do it at scale is all about understanding what people are capable of doing. If you're interested in any of that, we did write a book, What's Next for You, available from Amazon, because for us, everybody doesn't need to work with us. As long as you see a better opportunity to help everyone on your teams, that is what we want more than anything. So with that, that's all I had to share, and really appreciate you all taking the time with us.